Hey guys, Multiclassic Gamer here. Welcome back to more Battle for Bikini Bottom on Xbox, and ahead of us lies everyone's favorite World 7. I did not have high opinions of this world back in the day, and it's time for me to take it on. Right after we go see Revenge of the Bride of Plankton's Other Brain here in the movie theaters. Actually, no, we got some backtracking to do. So, we're going to go to Jellyfish Fields to, I think we want to go to Drain the Lake. That's where we want to go. So the 14th and final sock of Jellyfish Fields requires you to have SpongeBob's Cruise Bubble move. So we're going to switch to SpongeBob here automatically, conveniently. And you want to get up to basically this cliff right up here where this pressure plate was that you probably saw me walk past when we originally came through Jellyfish Fields here. And it's not that long of a walk there. It seems like it is, but it really isn't. You can enjoy the waterfalls, enjoy the raining tartar sauce that comes down on you, and then drown the robot. The very sticky goo that he deserves to drown in. Tartar sauce. When will all these tartar bots go away? Anyways. So if you step on this pressure plate, it's going to make 5 floating tikis appear, and you have to destroy each one of them with the cruise bubble. That's basically how you get your final sock in Jellyfish Fields. Pretty underwhelming to make the player backtrack all the way back here just for that one last sock just to do something like this. I will admit it's kind of lame actually, but oh well, that's what it is. So it's not really so much a blur effect as it is a motion blur for the cruise bubble in the Xbox version. So anyways, there we go. Bikini Bomb 100%, Jellyfish Fields 100%, and downtown Bikini Bomb we need to go to the last golden spatula there that we didn't get yet. Come back with the cruise bubbles, or what it's called. So, question is, where will this put us at? The Sea Needle. So as you can see, there's a sort of a block hanging down from what appears to be a rope over there. Well, actually, it's just a post, but still. We have a metal block hanging from the ceiling there. Something kind of suspicious about that. Well, if you go down to the east end of the Sea Needle, and you're also going to notice that, again, we have not opened up the south side of the Sea Needle. Well, that metal block actually has to do with that. As well as, obviously, this golden spatula we're headed for. So, you're going to activate your cruise bubble on this side of the Sea Needle, and, of course, on the other side is a button, which makes the golden spatula appear, and also a platform, too. So now you gotta walk all the way back over to the other side of the Sea Needle once again to claim your prize. But actually, I want to go there as Sandy because there's something for Sandy to do over there too. So as you saw, we're also missing a sock here in downtown Bikini Bottom. Well, Sandy also has to do with that particular sock we're missing. Because let's just say we're gonna be killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. As we pick up this golden spatula. You're gonna notice that there's a Texas gliding thing behind us. Texas swinging glide thing. That's what I should be calling these things. Okay, it's not Texas glide. It has nothing to do with gliding whatsoever. It's just swinging Texas thing. Okay. Enough of that. There we go. There's your sock. And there is the south side of the Sea Needle open. And so with that, we're 100% done with the entire first area of Bikini Bottom. I think I'll give this a try, honestly, at the end of Let's Play. I don't feel like trying it right now, because I just want to move on to the next world. So, we got Rock Bomb. Yeah, we were completely done so far with the game. Robo Patrick Ahoy. That's the name of that mission. There's also Rumble at the Poseidon for the Robot Sandy fight. So, anyways, it is time, folks, to move on to World 7. The first world of the third area, Bikini Bottom, where we'll be getting golden spatulas 73 through 80. But in order to get there, first, you need 50 golden spatulas. We have way more than that at this point, so there's really no point having these paywalls whatsoever. And that opens the way, folks, to the Kelp Forest. Let's just say it's not everyone's favorite world in the entire game. And once again, I tore this world to shreds when I played this back in the day.
Here we are in the Kelp Forest, an interesting area with many sights to see, for those that don't get hopelessly lost first.
So, we have 2 new robots to start with the Kelp Forest. Well, actually, we got introduced to one of them in the last episode. I couldn't remember what the name of them was. The robots that shoot the lasers out of their eyes, those are called Bzd bots. Yeah, that's literally what they're called. That's what the game calls them, Bzd bots. And the robot that we were just introduced to in that cutscene we just had a moment ago are called Tubelets. So, we'll be getting more into those as we actually encounter them here in the Kelp Forest. So the Kelp Forest is another dark world. If you're playing this on CRT television, this is once again a time where you're going to have a lot of trouble seeing the world, and thus you're not going to have a fun time here whatsoever trying to find your way through. Now, in all honesty, my opinion on this level has actually changed a lot over the years. As a matter of fact, Kelp Forest is no longer my least favorite world in the entire game, believe it or not. That spot has now gone to Jellyfish Fields. Yeah. The only reason why is because I've played this game so many times that Jellyfish Fields has just become more and more meh over the years for me, basically. At least with the Kelp Forest, it's more interesting because you're in the last area of the game, basically. So there's a lot more stuff the game actually throws at you to make it a little more challenging, essentially. When you played a game for several years over and over and over again, a little challenge is nice to have, basically. So, and that's what Kelp Forest provides. So, in that respect, I actually enjoy the Kelp Forest more as a result. So, yeah, Kelp Forest is no longer my least favorite world in the game. You are spared, Kelp Forest, and... Oh! Having a nice little glitch there with the tubelets. So, for some reason the flame wasn't coming out. But yeah, that's their attack, basically, is they spin and shoot flames at you. Yeah. What more is there to say? But the thing is, if you destroy the one at the bottom, as you saw in the cutscene, then eventually, then the one on top is going to start spinning, and after a few seconds, there will be a huge explosion as the bottom tubelet reappears, and that will result in you taking a hit, essentially. So, tubelets are a very interesting type of robot, but it's the second to last robot we encounter in this last area of the game, essentially. Okay. So, with another sock in hand, we're going to head here and see Mrs. Puff. What's Mrs. Puff doing out here? Well, then again, what was she doing in Rock Bottom? What was she doing in any of the other areas we saw, like Goo Lagoon and whatnot? Yeah, stop questioning the game's logic.
Hi, Mrs. Puff. Driving class isn't out here today, is it?
No, SpongeBob. Why do you say that? Do you think we'd have class out here just to hide from you? How silly. I'm just, gathering twigs for the winter. Yes, that's it.
How would you even have a driving class out in the middle of the woods? That's like the least appropriate place to have a driving class. You can't drive in the middle of the woods. Like, how would you train students to drive in the middle of the woods? It just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, can I help? I have a merit badge in twig gathering.
Actually, you can help with something else. These robots showed up and scared all the students, campers off into the forest. Before the ranger arrives, someone needs to go out and find them.
I'll help you find them, Mrs. Puff. I'm the sponge for the job.
Thanks, SpongeBob. I'll make sure to give you a nice reward when you've found all of them.
So, these campers that you have to find, what's weird about them is that they are technically the main collectibles, per se, of this level, but they don't go back with you to the camp after you find them. They still remain where they are because they're NPCs just like all the other NPCs or non-speaking NPCs we found throughout the game. So they don't move from their spots, even though they count as being found. So it's very weird, but that's just how it works in this game, I suppose. Just this one area where the collectibles are just characters that you find, basically, but don't take anywhere. So stone tikis, if I didn't mention before, can actually be destroyed by SpongeBob's cruise bubble. So if I didn't mention that, there you go. Now you know that.
Fresh like a spring breeze. Okay,
so there's your alternate playable character in the Kelp Forest is Patrick. I mean, makes sense. We had Sandy in the last world, so makes sense that we would be playing as Patrick in this world. But what's really funny is that I actually always end up using Mrs. Puff as a platform to get up to this button right here, but that's just how I have always done it, so that's how I'm going to do it here. It's just really funny using an NPC as a platform. It's not very conventional for this game, but that's what I do. So these green leaves right here, these are temporary platforms. They will curl up and thus not be able to, won't be able to stand on them after they do that. But these yellow ones or brown ones or whatever color they are, apparently I can't read colors, whatever. They're brown. Yeah, they're brown. These brown withered leaves, the ones that should be the ones that that curl when you stand on them, they actually make you bounce. So they're even stronger than the green healthy leaves. So that doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. I'm sure someone in the comments will explain to me how it does make sense. I'm just being dumb right now. Anyways, you bounce up here, and you'll find your first camper. Again, camper does not go with you. They literally stay put. Now, what's very interesting is that right here, in the very beginning of the Kelp Forest, there is this random leaf hand that will smack you if you get too close. And for some reason, I did not take a hit there. But essentially, if you do it just right, you can actually play a little game of jump rope here with it. That's pretty much, other than that, there's not really much to it. It's just kind of randomly here for no reason whatsoever. Like, it's always been kind of a mystery, like, what the purpose of this thing even is. Because, like, they literally just placed a random, like, interesting enemy just in this random spot, like, at the very beginning of the Kelp Forest, and there's nothing else to it. It hurts you if you stand too close to it. It's just there to, I guess, kind of give you, maybe it's meant to, like, make the player feel nervous about the adventure that's ahead of them in Kelp Forest. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know for sure, but basically, yeah, there's supposedly a game of jump rope to be had with it, but it's nothing interesting. Nothing interesting enough to point out. Well, actually, it is interesting enough to point out, but not something I would spend any time doing, essentially. So, anyways, I think we're done with, well, we're not done with SpongeBob quite yet. At least yeah, we're definitely not, because there's other stuff we can do here I completely forgot about until now. So we have we got Arf right here. I'm gonna go ahead and deal with him first. Since he saw us, that means he wasn't destroyed by that Thunder Tiki, but normally he would be. Now, so even though I don't dislike the Kelp Forest as much as I used to, it's still going to take longer to get through the Kelp Forest than it has the past couple worlds. The past couple worlds were very, 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 very short, especially felt short. But I'm pretty sure Kelp Forest is going to make up for that. The World 8 is actually pretty long, or actually not long, it's pretty short actually compared to Kelp Forest, so it's not a short world. And so is the 9th and last world of the game too. So honestly, this is the only long world of the game that's actually, or the only remaining world of the game that actually feels long, essentially. So got some more of these Bizz robots here, or Bizz bots is actually what they're called. And we have one Patrick Socks here in the goose. It should be pretty obvious what we gotta do with that. So I think that literally is all we need to do with SpongeBob, essentially, at this point. Because there was still that, oh, this, crap, I'm actually drawing a blank here on what that, I forgot what we did with that button, actually, that we pressed with the cruise bubble. I know it's something important that allows us to progress for, like, we'll at least do something here. Wait a second, I think I know. Or maybe I don't. Oh, yeah, I do, right here, duh. I'm having poor memory, I apologize. Poor memory, I apologize. There's more proof I can't talk today. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna want to switch to Patrick. Because good old good old Rick has stuff to do here in the Kelp Forest. Well, I guess if the buses can get out here, then yeah, I guess it does make sense that there's a, driving class out here. Never mind what I said earlier. They have bus stops out here in the middle of the woods, so it must be true that you can have a driving class out here. Alright, so Patrick here is going to take a throw fruit, and he is going to use it to get himself to another platform with another throw fruit, and by extension, use said throw fruit to press this button. So, since 2019 is coming to an end, I want just wanted to know, like, what were you guys' favorite movies this year? I think my favorite new movie that came out this year was Detective Pikachu. I'm not really much of a Pokemon fan, too, I will point out, but, actually I just haven't really looked much into the series, but I will say that, when I was young, I did watch plenty of the original show growing up, and also the first few Pokemon movies. So, I have some semblance of knowledge about the Pokemon movies, essentially. Knowing that there's a lot of them, essentially. Now, there's a camper down here. Okay, so let's just get the camper real quick. But, more importantly, directly below us is actually Patrick's sock. And we're going to make it a lot more convenient on ourselves and just grab it from, like, this way. Yes, you're going to die, but since there's no life system, it's not a big deal. And also, you're better off just doing that instead of going all the way down there just to do the thing with the Frizzy Fruit. But, other than that, I think that's pretty much it for this first area of Kelp Forest. And I think this is called the, I know the next area is called the Swamp. What is this area called, this first area? I don't remember. Well, let's go ahead and get our golden spatula and move on, shall we?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
So that's 73 golden spatulas. So as you can see, it took us like 16 minutes just to get to this this far in Kelp Forest and get the first golden spatula. So yes, we have 3 of the campers, but still. Next up we have the Kelp Swamp. Let's move on, shall we? Get on in there. Yeah, there's lots to do in pretty much every area of the Kelp Forest, so it's going to be quite a long journey to get through here. And of course, naturally, if there's driving class out here, then there's obviously going to be Mr. Krabs.
Hi, Mr. Krabs. What are you doing here?
Ahoy, Patrick! I'm trying to return 3 stone tikis to this pedestal so I can get to the kelp cave across that bridge. There could be customers in there. I saw 3 tikis scattered around this area, but me old brain couldn't figure out how to get them back up here.
Well, you see, Mr. Krabs, what you do is you pick up the tikis and then you shove them up your butt. That's how you get them up here.
Sure, why not? I need a good laugh. There's a golden spatula up there for you if you succeed.
Oh boy, Mr. Krabs. I'll see what I can do.
Yes, we'll see what we can do to get Mr. Krabs to laugh. That's what we're best at. So the first stone tiki is right here next to Mr. Krabs. And apparently, yeah, he really couldn't figure out how to get this stone tiki right here, that's directly next to him, over to this pedestal, which is only 10 feet away. Seriously, Mr. Krabs, it's not rocket science. The stone tiki's like 10 feet away. Okay, I was trying to make a reference there, but also it just came off like really dumb. Okay. So, anyways, got some buzzed robots. You know, wouldn't the buzzed robots be bees essentially? Because the buzzed just makes it sound like instead of a laser shooting out their eyes, sounds more like bees essentially. So we'll call these bee bots. How about that? It sounds a lot more fitting actually, a lot more cooler. So here's the thing. You don't want to die in the Kelp Swamp, because if you do that, every single time you die in this area, the stone tikis will reset. That's a big problem, because the stone tikis are necessary to move on to the next area, so you cannot afford to die, especially after you start placing the second and third stone tikis in their pedestals. Because, yeah, needless to say, you're going to have to do some backtracking if you ever die at some point. So you got to be really careful with all these jumps you're going to make, because there's a lot of jumps you make over, well, not just jumps necessarily, but bouncing you do over the swamp. Now, up here, we have a teleport box and also one of the stone tikis, but you cannot take this one back to that area quite yet. You will be able to soon, but not quite yet. Hey, Arf, what's up? Haha! Okay. I guess you're one of the tougher sheriffs in town, aren't you? Whatever. Okay, well, let's we'll go ahead and take care of this challenge real quick, and then we'll end off this episode. So, We have Frizzy Fruit and a button. What is one to do? Well, actually, you want to press the button first and then use the Frizzy Fruit. I'm being dumb here. Let's just say we're going to have 2 timers at a time here. 2 timers at a time, man! That doesn't even make any sense. That's a terrible reference there. Alright. So you're going to press this button first. And wouldn't you know, it reveals a golden spatula. And for a second timer, we're going to have the Frizzy Fruits. So yeah, you have 2 timers, and the Frizzy Fruit is still shorter than the actual time limit, so because of that, it's actually your biggest concern is getting killed by the goo rather than running out of time for this, or whatever. We got it. No problem at all. Let's get back to that area now. Once again, high praise for the Xbox's realistic ice. Well, more realistic than the GameCube, I'll give it that. Alright, that's going for today's episode, y'all. So next time on Battle for Bikini Bomb, we're going to explore more of the Kelp Forest, possibly finish up this Stone Tiki puzzle, and get inside the Kelp Caves, across the bridge. See you guys then. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.